Hey folks, it's Ben. I'm here with our 2008 Chevy Equinox, and we've had a particular problem with this car that's been hard to track down. The primary issue is it goes through a battery about every 2 years, and that's kind of a little bit more than I like to see in a car. And what'll happen is that after about a week of sitting, you'll just hop in it and it will be flat dead. The battery will be totally right down to zero gone. So we assume that there's a parasitic loss somewhere, but we haven't been able to track it down, meaning we've connected an amp meter through the circuitry, and after about 30 seconds and the car settles down, we have no draw of current. So it happens occasionally, not all the time. So it's very frustrating to kind of figure out what's going on, and could take a long time. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the car occasionally just is dead. The battery is just toast. So to come up with a solution for that answer, we've got this thing right over here. This is called, it's a Trickle charger, to be fancy about it. I picked this one up off of Amazon, and it wasn't that expensive, but long story short, it puts about an amp on the battery, but it's a smart charger, so it'll know when to charge and know when to just maintain the battery. And this particular kit, this is the 1 amp or 1000 milliamp, comes with 2 types of connectors. It has this permanent install connector part with a fuse in it, and an SAE connector that's got a cover on it to keep it protected. And then I have it plugged in right now, but I'll disconnect it. It also comes with these handy clips. So if you have a free battery around, like I've been charging batteries with this thing, that I have laying around, because I have 3 extra batteries for this car that do have some power left in them. You can charge them. So what we're going to do for here is I'm going to install this Trickle charger so that if it's not going to be driven for a week, we can plug it in and it can maintain the battery. If there is a parasitic loss, it will provide power for that loss and not damage the battery. So we're going to install this on the car, and we'll show you how we do it right now. So the battery, and I've gotten quite used to getting inside of this one, is under, I believe, the ECM, or the engine control module, which is right here. There's a little tab that you press down on or just push forward with, and it'll release the ECM like so. And you can just set it aside. And then under the battery box here, there's a button that you press and it releases the front, and then you can just kind of wiggle it off. And then there's the battery. Now, this kit, the leads are not very long on it. Like, this isn't very far. Technically, the hole to get out of the battery box is on the other side of the engine. So what I'm going to do is we're actually going to try to sneak it out of a hole that's in the battery box. Now, where to connect it? Well, conveniently, they have these bolts that tie down to the post of the battery, and that's a perfect spot for us to remove that nut, insert our little O-ring here, or O connector, and then tighten the nut back down. It'll act like a washer and make a great connection to the battery. And this unit is just about the right width wide. And then if we have it escaping out the front of the battery box, it'll lay right here in our grill, so it won't be too far to just pop the hood, plug in our charger, and let it do its trickle charge while the car's asleep. So what I'm going to do right now is take the battery box, and where we disconnected the ECM, this little clip here, the wire is actually fine enough to squeeze out the side. So all I have to do is kind of work this plug through this little hole here, and it should go through pretty good once it starts getting going. There we go. And I'll have it egress out the side a little bit. And what that'll do is it'll allow us to, the clip will still work, but it gives us lots of space for our cable to escape the back of the box without actually modifying the box. So that's pretty handy right there. And we'll keep it close by so we can make our connections. It does tie our battery box to our car, however, but that's no big deal. So we'll start with the negative side, and I'm going to loosen this bolt up, and I'm going to have to loosen it all the way. This kit did come with a fuse in this little box here, and you always want to have a fuse when you're connecting to battery components like that, so if something does short out, you don't short the battery out, it'll just pop the fuse. And of course, this will have a little bit of a lock on it, so you don't accidentally take the screw out all the way, but in this case we want to. So with the nut off, I'll just take my negative lead and poke it here, and then we'll put the nut back on. So the negative side's done. Let's do the positive. We'll back the nut off, and then we'll put the ring on, and then we'll put it right back down again. So now we've got good termination on each side of the battery per positive and negative, and we've got our cable routed through our top here, so we can actually kind of bring this around the right way. Make sure, I don't know if we're going to have enough clearance for this fuse, but we'll find out pretty quick on that one. And we'll pull it a little tight, and then we'll just kind of sneak our battery cover back on, which, as my wife will attest, I can never get this thing on right. Looks like we are sitting on that fuse a little bit. Keeps me from closing it, so I don't think there's anywhere I can put it. It's gonna be out of the way. You can split this open some more, kind of pull it to the side. That might work better. Perfect, so that's latched down. We've got our little out for our cable here, if we can keep it nice and flat. Let's see how well our ECM sits on this thing. So with like such. So it's snapped in, and now we've got our cable here. Now you could take a voltmeter and read across this, and you should see the 12 volts of the battery connection. But in this case, our actual car work is complete. So let's take our trickle charger. And it does come with a full set of instructions, so it tells you the status of what's going on, when it's blinking or when it's not. So in this case, our charger says there's nothing going on because it's not connected to anything. Now this charger will not charge a completely dead battery. It needs to see about 4 volts before it does anything. So I'm going to take my end here, and connect them. It's a smart charger, so if I did something wrong, it will also indicate that it was connected wrong. But with the single red light on, that means that it does see a charge, meaning the battery is within 90% of charged, and it's charging. So that's a good sign. And the nice thing is we can then take this and kind of drop it out from the car. It's like set it on the floor, I guess, and then we could technically, if we wanted to, close the hood. We'll just leave it so it's not latched. But now we can leave the car in this state, and as long as we know that, you'll see that the car will indicate that the hood is unlatched, and then you realize, oh, I need to unplug something before you go anywhere. But now we can just leave this running, and this light will eventually go to green, which meaning it's maintaining the battery, but right now it's putting on a charge. So it doesn't fix our battery draw problem, but it does fix my car killing the batteries constantly problem, which is almost as good. And for the price of entry and for the little bit of work we had to do for it, I think it's pretty much worth it for this car. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. And if you guys have any comments, leave them too. I know it's kind of a weak fix, but it works for me. You guys, please subscribe to my channel, Turbo231, for more Equinox and other vehicle videos, and we'll see you next time.